I can't believe that we are officially a third of the way through the regular season for fantasy football, guys. Whether you're 5-0 or you're 1-4 and you're slowly dying inside, we can still scheme, we can still make moves, we can still improve our team. You're not officially out of it mathematically. You can still make a run for the playoffs. We see it every season, right? Somebody who's like 1-4 go on a big run, maybe some players I had on IR come back, and they make the playoffs as like the 6th seed, and they fucking win it, man. I see it every single season. So we are not out of it yet. Let's see if we can buy some underperforming players who have better rest of season outlooks. We're going to talk about a couple players. These are guys that I think you should trade for, right? Now, if you're 5-0 and you have these guys, you might want to stay put, right? You can probably afford to see what happens. But if you're like 2-3 or 1-4 even, these are guys that I would really consider going after because they're cheap and they have a lot of upside. So let's start this list with Brian Thomas, man. So I've been talking about Brian Thomas for a while now. I traded for him personally in some of my leagues. He's been underperforming, man. That's as simple as it is. In half PPR, he's yet to really break like 11 fantasy points. He did have his best week last week where he kind of looked pretty good, man. He goes 4 for 80, only 6 targets. We don't really love to see that, but it's against the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Their schedule has been brutal, dude. If we look here at the game log, Houston, San Francisco, Kansas City, Seattle, Rams. Like up until the bye week, it's tough sledding, but we know what he's capable of. We know what he did last season. We know what he can be, right? So I really think that he's pretty much at his floor right now. We're like 5 weeks in a row without a touchdown, without a pop-off game. Like there's tons of wide receivers that are just straight up better than him, right? But after the bye week, we see that it gets a little bit lighter. It gets a little bit easier for them. We got, Vegas right away. That could be an explosion game. We got Houston. They have a good run defense. Their pass defense is okay. Chargers, Arizona, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Jets, Indianapolis, Tennessee. It's pretty much clear skies, except for a couple of matchups. Like the Indianapolis matchup isn't ideal. But Brian Thomas is somebody where his routes and the targets that he's getting are really changing. They're really improving. He's getting a lot of sideline stuff. All right, I want to show you guys this chart. It's essentially just targets in the red zone. We have here on the left side total within the 20-yard line. And then here, the column that I've highlighted is targets within the 10-yard line. So Amon-Ra St. Brown absolutely shredding. 5 catches for 5 touchdowns. He's amazing. But we look down here at the bottom, we see Brian Thomas. He's got 3 within the 10-yard line, 4 in total. So 4 within the 20. Not great. He's not catching any of them. He's getting a little bit unlucky. Last game, he gets a defensive pass interference in the end zone. It would have been the game-winning touchdown. Ends up then going to Trevor Lawrence, who looked like a baby deer, like freshly born baby horse trying to get up, and he scampers and he gets into the end zone. So he's still getting end zone targets. He's still their main wide receiver. I know Travis Hunter had a couple of nice plays, but it's going to be Brian Thomas, man. And I do think better days are ahead. He's going to start getting touchdowns. I mean, he has to. Please. Please start getting some touchdowns, man, because I bought into you. I think he's a good buy low candidate. I think he's at his absolute bottom, right? He's at the bottom of his value at the moment. So it really can't go any worse. And I do think better days are ahead. So I think the most important thing about Brian Thomas, the reason that I do think he's going to turn around, is that he still looks great. He's galloping down the field. He's getting these like deep sideline catches. I think in this game alone, he had 20 yards per catch. We just want to see a little bit more volume, man. I think if he can hover around the 8 to 10 target, I mean, if he can get up to 10 targets, that'd be amazing. He'd be like a top 15, top 12 wide receiver. It's just we know what the ceiling is. And it seems like he's past that wrist injury that he had that looked like it was really hurting him. It looked like it was really impacting his ability to make contested catches. Even in last game, there was like that sideline catch where he kind of bobbles it, catches it weirdly, like the back of his hand or something. I don't know. But nevertheless, he's one of my favorite buy low candidates. Next, we have Chase Brown on this list, man. This one is tough. It's tough to put a player like Chase Brown who doesn't look like there's much going for them, but I do just want to highlight one thing, man. Their schedule has been extremely difficult, dude. Like literally every game. It's been Cleveland, Jacksonville, Minnesota, Denver, Detroit. Literally all of those teams have like, top 12 defenses when it comes to not only stopping the run, right? But like Cleveland, for example, they're good at everything. Jacksonville looks like they're really good at everything as well. Minnesota, that was just a tough game. Jake Browning's like first start. So Chase Brown is still getting volume. That's just kind of the thesis here, right? We see that after this next game, so after the Green Bay game, the schedule becomes a lot more friendly, right? We got Pittsburgh, Jets, Chicago, then a bye, then Pittsburgh, New England, who's actually really good against the run, and then Baltimore, Buffalo, Miami, Arizona. There's a lot of clear skies, a lot of better favorable matchups. They just traded for Joe Flacco. He's still getting enough volume, guys. Let's look at the volume that he's been getting. So he had 16 total opportunities against Detroit. That's in a losing game script. He gets 8 targets, 7 for 21. Obviously, we wish that the production was better on 16 touches. I mean, what did he have? Like 50, what is that? 48 total, all scrimmage yards. Not ideal, man. That is a very horrible yards per touch or yards per opportunity, whatever you want to call it. So I do think better days are ahead, man. The defenses that they've played have just been really, really, really strong. It's just been an absolutely brutal schedule to not have Joe Burrow, man. So everything kind of sucks. He's still getting opportunities. He's a very inexpensive player, is kind of the thesis here, right? I know I've had him on sell lists before prior in the season, but we're now approaching where the schedule gets better, which means he's now a buy, in my opinion. I know that's kind of scummy, but that's just the way that I view Chase Brown. At the end of the day, you can just get him for so cheap at the moment. In terms of what you might be able to trade to get him, it might be tough, right? Like you might have to do kind of like a 2 for 2, or maybe you're downgrading at running back, but you're improving at a wide receiver. Some running backs that I would potentially trade straight up for him just off of like rest of season rankings. Like Chuba Hubbard is a perfect example, right? He goes out for week 5. Rico Dowdle explodes. They now get Dallas up next. It looks like they might hold out Chuba Hubbard again. I don't know why. There's no reports. There's no news about that. But if Chuba Hubbard then comes back into a 50-50 split with Rico Dowdle, Chase Brown is not actually having to deal with anything like that, right? He's not having to deal with a 50-50 split. So that's kind of the way that I see that. Somebody like Trevion Henderson, much better rest of season outlook, much better, much more of a league winner. Their schedule is really good for Trevion later in the season. But if you need wins like in the next like 2 or 3 weeks, if you can't just afford to wait for Ramondre to fumble 17 more times for them to finally give the job to Trevion, Chase Brown is somebody that I might look at, right? Like Trevion for Chase Brown, plus you can probably get a piece in addition, right? So that's kind of the way that I view it, man. Like I know it's a risky one. It's not the most confident, like buy low player. A lot of people are trying to sell them and they just can't right now. But if you're buying and you can afford to maybe if you're 4-1 or 5-0, like I mentioned, Chase Brown is kind of the dude that I want to target. All right, next we got Kendre Miller, dude, who has looked really good the last couple of weeks. He has 11 touches in back-to-back weeks, 11 in week 4, 11 in week 5. He looks really good. It seems like they want to have a Kendre Miller early down with Alvin Kamara as like the third down receiving back. And I'm hearing rumblings that they might even want to trade Alvin Kamara before the trade deadline. So Kendre Miller could find himself in an early down goal line role with no Alvin Kamara taking work behind him. Maybe they try to get other dudes involved. I don't even know who they have behind Kamara and Miller. What is it? Devin Neal? Okay, I mean, it could be a Kendre Miller, Devin Neal backfield, but the thesis behind Miller is that we want to see if Alvin Kamara gets traded, number one, and number two, if Kendre Miller can continue being really good, man. He has looked really good. Here is the chart that's just showing kind of a tackles avoided per carry here on the x-axis and then yards after contact per carry on the y-axis. Kendre Miller, dude, number 1 in the NFL in tackles avoided per carry. He's almost at 39%. And then he's, above the 3.5 yards after contact, man. He's like top 5 in yards after contact. So Kendre Miller is just across the board individually as a talent. He looks really good this season, man. And it's something we kind of knew. We kind of knew Kendre Miller was a very talented running back. The problem was just injuries. He just couldn't stay healthy. The coaching staff last season hated him. I think he fucked somebody's wife, but this is what Kellen Moore actually said about Kendre Miller. Kendre's just done a phenomenal job. Since I've been here, I've really enjoyed the guy. I think he's an awesome player. So they're high on him. They really like him as a talent. And, in terms of schedule, there's some tough ones on the dock. You got New England, Tampa Bay, Rams. Those are all tough games. But after week 11 bye, Atlanta, Miami, Tampa Bay is tough. Carolina, Jets, Tennessee, Atlanta. Some pretty decent divisional games. This is going to be a team that's going to be bad but competing. They're like a team that really wants to like play good football. Like we've seen them kind of hang around with some really good teams. They hung around with the Bills. Obviously they hung around with the Giants and actually beat the Giants. So this is a team that there could be some competent fantasy football play, man. So, and I think just to put a cherry on this or to wrap a bow on this is that he's just so cheap, right? He's a handcuff. Like people don't really view him as anything more than a handcuff. So Kendre Miller involved in a like multiplayer trade, that's the type of running back that I personally want to try to add to my trades where it's like, oh, you're just giving away a handcuff, man. Like, come on, just throw him into the deal. And then you're potentially getting a guy who's going to be like a flex play and maybe even better than that if Kamara does get traded. So let's move it along now. Trey Benson is the next one. All right. The Cardinals are a factory of sadness. It is a trail of tears with the Cardinals. Cardinals fans are down horrendous at the moment. If you are a Cardinals fan, I truly pour one out for you, man. But running backs perform, dude. Running backs tend to pop off for the Cardinals. Trey Benson was supposed to be the starter in week 4. Tough matchup against the Seahawks. He does get 13 total opportunities, and then he gets injured in that game, right? And then DeMarcado ends up finishing the game, ends up getting the receiving touchdown as well. So the thesis about Trey Benson is that running backs are hard to come by. As you guys can see, the running backs that I've listed in this video, Chase Brown, Kendre Miller, Trey Benson, like no one wants to trade away running backs. It's very difficult to buy them in fantasy football in general, in most leagues. So I'm kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. And Trey Benson is someone where he's on IR for at least 3 more weeks, potentially more than that. And I think there's a chance he returns in week 9 against Dallas, which is a fantastic matchup, right? Dallas is just really bad against running backs. So he's just going to be the starter, I think, when he does return. And that's pretty much it, dude. That's the thesis. You're going to have a starting running back that you can put in your IR. And you can maybe the team that has Benson right now is down bad. Maybe they don't have any running backs to really turn to. Like potentially this dude had James Conner, then he was down to Benson, and then Benson goes out. I think that fantasy owner might be reeling. He might be hurt right now. He might be down bad. Obviously, as a talent, he's pretty good. He was like well regarded coming out of college, but we just haven't really seen him materialize. He was getting a lot of good chunk plays early in the season when it was Conner and Benson. And just hopefully that can keep up, man. Hopefully he can actually be healthy when he returns. I don't think the team's then going to have a committee with Michael Carter. He's kind of just a stopgap. And, they hate DeMarcado. They're looking to probably drop him or cut him off the team. Trey Benson's going to come back into a full-time role, man. And then we stay with the Cardinals for the next one. It is Trey McBride. Look, man, if you drafted a tight end early in fantasy football, you're not feeling too good, especially when you look at this usage, man. We look at the usage on Trey McBride, it's just green across the board, dude. 9 targets, 7, 11, 7. In week 5 against Tennessee, he was like inches away from having like multiple touchdowns. Like there were a few plays, he was open a couple times where he just didn't get the ball. He goes 5 for 41 on 7 targets. The issue with McBride has been and always will be, he just does not get touchdowns for some reason, dude. For some reason, the team just does not throw him the ball in the end zone. They try trickery sometimes, but nevertheless, Trey McBride is still the tight end 5 on the season. I want to show you guys a couple of charts. All right, the first chart that I want to show you guys, it's first read target share versus first downs per route run. 2 good metrics that we just want to see how involved the guy is and how good they are on a per route basis. And we see that Trey McBride over here, hopefully you guys can see my cursor. He's right around Zay Flowers, Tedderell McMillan, Roma Dunze. He's better than Justin Jefferson. So he has an above 30% first read target share and just under a, 0.75 or just above and about a 0.10 first downs per route run. So he's a guy that they look to for first downs. He's a guy that has really good per route efficiency, man. It's just the production hasn't really matched yet. So if you're in the hunt for a tight end, he is somebody that I do think you can buy low at the moment. I just think the owner is seeing all these other tight ends like Mason Taylor, like Theo Johnson, like Darren Waller, who's getting touchdowns. He's getting a lot of involvement. There's these guys that are just getting touchdowns, right? And then the Trey McBride owner is probably sitting there like, bro, can I get in on this fun? Like, can I get off this big name tight end for someone who's got more touchdown upside? That's the type of dude that I'd personally try to target, right? If you have like a Darren Waller, if you can flip him for Trey McBride and then you might even be able to get a piece with Waller. That's kind of the thesis. Now, it kind of brings, like, as I was saying that, I was starting to think about that. Like, who would I rather have rest of the season, Darren Waller or Trey McBride? I can't believe I'm actually asking that, man. But I do think you still want to stick with the target volume. You want to stick with Trey McBride. He's just getting so many damn targets. And at some point, they're gonna just realize, bro, he's our best player. We need to start giving him the ball a lot more. But yeah, that's a tough one. So Darren Waller is kind of in that weird category where like the dude could be a league winner and he could also just get injured again and be nothing, right? That's another factor you need to consider. So yeah, I just think Trey McBride, he's just so cheap at the moment. Like people have this sunk cost fallacy where they feel like because I drafted him so highly, I got him in like the 3rd round, I can't trade him at his current low value or lower value. So you can maybe take advantage of that and buy, sell a tight end like Darren Waller high. So let's move it along now. Keenan Allen is the next one. First 3 games of the season, Keenan Allen was fantastic. Get a touchdown every game, 10, 7, 11 targets. Then we see that I don't know. I don't think it's age. I just think it's circumstance. I think the team is just kind of down bad at the moment when it comes to their offensive line. Their running backs keep getting banged up. Keenan Allen is still out there trucking duty. So you got 9 targets last game, 5 for 48. Dude, 4th in total pass rate are the Chargers. So this is a team that's just passing the ball like in a crazy, insane rate. And that was with Hampton. Now that Hampton is on IR, the offensive line is banged up. Kamani Vidal and Hassan Haskins are the 2 duo running backs. Those are not guys they're going to be able to lean on. I think the Chargers are going to be throwing the ball 45 times a game moving forward. Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, and Quentin Johnson could easily see 10 targets each guy per game here on out. And listen, man. Keenan Allen has had 2 bad games in a row. Lad McConkey just popped up. Looks like they wanted to get him involved. They made it a point to get him some production. Maybe the Keenan Allen owner is like, let me see if I can still sell high now while he still has the name. People are still remembering the early season production. And another thing, man, Keenan Allen was just purchased, or he was drafted at such a late stage, right? He was like a 12th round pick. Sometimes he wasn't even drafted in a lot of leagues. So the owner of Keenan Allen might have him as like their 4th, 5th, 6th wide receiver, and they're willing to kind of sell high as they see the production start to dip. That's why I like Keenan Allen. I do think he's just going to be on a pass-first team with a really good quarterback that's still out there slinging it. And it looks like they really force-feed Keenan Allen, even when they maybe shouldn't. There were a couple plays last game where like Quentin Johnson was open in the end zone, and he tries to force it to Keenan, ends up being a pick. So there's stuff like that where he's just such a big name still. And I do think he's going to have better days. And the last 2 weeks are kind of just like the worst it could be, right? Like 5 for 37, 5 for 58. That's kind of how I envision like Keenan Allen's floor being. He's just still so involved, and the team's just gonna be throwing the ball so much more. So now we got Ricky Pearsall, man. Big dick sticky Ricky, dude. One of my favorite NFL players to watch. Phenomenal player. He's currently averaging 15 PPR points per game in expected points. And then he's only wide receiver 37 on the season. He did get banged up in week 4 against Jacksonville. Only goes 4 for 46. He was on track. He was on schedule for another good game of really good involvement. Gets injured. And unfortunately, he's actually still injured. He didn't practice on Monday. We don't love to see that. This is a team that they are 4th in pass rate percentage. So they throw the ball 4th most in the NFL, and they can't really run the ball effectively, man. I don't know if you guys have noticed that even Christian McCaffrey, dude, he's not really running the ball very well. A lot of his production is coming through the air. He's like a wide receiver 1. Christian McCaffrey is a wide receiver 1 at the moment. And Kendrick Bourne, he had 19 half PPR points. He was like the only guy out there. They didn't really have anyone else. Demarcus Robinson wasn't really doing much. And I do think that when Ricky Pearsall comes back, he's just going to slot right back into that wide receiver 1 role. He's going to be phenomenal as soon as he's back. It's possible they hold him out one more week just so he can get healthier, which represents an extra buy low window, right? If the report comes out this week that they're going to hold out Ricky Pearsall this week as well, the owner of Ricky Pearsall might be like, fuck, dude, another week without Ricky Pearsall. Like, I'm going to sell this dude. I'm going to sell him for whatever I can get. I personally view Ricky Pearsall as like a top 20 guy rest of the season. So take that in mind when you're doing these trades. Like if you can flip guys who are currently overperforming for a guy like Ricky Pearsall, that's how I'd view it. And that does it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for watching. The best way to show support is to like the video, subscribe if you want to catch more of this. Make sure you guys join the Discord. The link will be down below. It is a dope little growing community where we're talking ball every day. Thank you to everyone from the Discord for showing up, for watching the videos, and for just being dope, man. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.